jump in, and then we should be all good, all set to go. How's your day going, Mel? Kamel?
It's going pretty good. Pretty good. Had a busy work day filled with meetings, but glad to be here, man.
Yes, sir. I'll say the same thing as well. Meetings, meetings, meetings on top of the meetings. Yeah. After this, I have a meeting. So it's good.
Work doesn't stop.
No, I don't. All right. I'm gonna give it about another minute. Um,
Cool.
it should be good.
My dog is hounding me because he normally goes out around this time. So
Oh yeah. Hey Jamel, was it? Did you find it easy to find the link and the passcode for the TikTok?
Yeah, I did it through I think was a website called Eventbrite,
Okay.
and it just sent me a reminder through my Zoom app. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, no, so I accessed it that way. So it was relatively easy, it's very convenient.
Okay.
And I may
Cool.
be going in and out for audio because I'm here with my son. So,
Yeah. No
yeah,
problem.
he's like a 2-year-old toddler. So use your imagination if you will.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No problem. No problem.
yeah. Well,
All
I
right.
guess to break the ice, how long have you guys been doing IT work?
I've been working in IT for about 12 years now. More so cybersecurity for 4 years now. So definitely seen everything from help desk support all the way up to engineering, architecture, management, where I'm in now. But yeah, 12 years strong. It's crazy to say out loud now that I speaking on it, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Cool. Yeah. Myself, 7 years. I've been doing cybersecurity risk management. I'm a person who transitioned into the field from a different career. So yeah, and what we do is Tech Up Labs. We help people make that transition as well. So yep.
Sounds pretty good. Yeah, because I saw you guys. I saw some advertisements go out too throughout Instagram, and I got a
Okay.
buddy of mine. He just started some of his work in IT, and I
Hmm.
believe he works on the network administration side.
Hmm.
Yeah, so because I kind of helped him get into sales because right now I currently work in tech sales,
Okay.
and after he got done with his stint in tech sales, I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, how's IT doing?" Because I was more interested in getting in there. So I was like, let me check you guys out, see what you got going on.
Yeah, for sure. But
Nice.
cybersecurity is where it's at. It's only going to grow as far as AI as well. So just keep up with it. You're in tech sales, so you know how that is. You know.
Yeah.
All right, and then we have Georges, man. How you doing, Georges?
Hi, Deontay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Good, good.
It's all good. Yeah, Georges is in the next cohort, so he's just here soaking in some good information, man.
Great
Yeah,
program, man. I think you'll learn a lot, gain some valuable insight and experience. So hopefully you stick with it, and on the other end you'll be able to see what what you learn and be able to acquire a new role in cyber.
definitely. Once I start something, I stick to it until the end. So you don't have to worry about that.
Perfect, perfect.
For sure. And let me ask you one more question before we start. Did you find it relatively easy to get the passcode and the meeting link for the Zoom?
You asking me, George?
Yes.
No, I just clicked on the link and took me straight there. There
Okay,
was no
cool.
password.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Because I often worry about that because sometimes an Eventbrite is not so apparent, but we sent out emails, made sure people were invited as well. So, sometimes. people don't see it or they ignore it, etc. You know, that's how Eventbrite goes. But we should be all good, okay? Anybody else who joins will join, and then I guess they'll be able to ask questions at the end. All right, so I'm gonna get ready and start. I want to respect everyone's time. All right. So, uh, again, Tech Up Labs, we're a cybersecurity and AI cohort program. People who want to get into tech generally come to us, and we train you to get your Security Plus certification. And you are in a 14-week cohort program where you learn about the vital software that you need, SentinelOne, Rapid7, AWS, etc. Right? We have people in great spots such as Tesla, uh, City of Houston, BCG, uh, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, MD Anderson, etc. Okay, we have a 100% pass rate in our Security Plus exam, and we continue to foster the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. Okay, so that's a little bit about Tech Hub Labs. Today we have a special guest, right? A really good friend, a really good colleague, a fraternity brother. Uh, I'm here to introduce Kamel Powers. Okay, we are beyond excited to introduce Kamel Powers, a highly motivated and resourceful cybersecurity professional who is joining us as a guest on Tech Talk. Kamel brings a wealth of expertise in identity and access management, incident response, risk management, and security compliance. He's skilled in using cutting edge tools like Microsoft Security Suite, Qualys, CyberArk, and all of these strengthen the security and manage vulnerabilities and ensure regulatory compliance. Okay. Kamel is truly passionate about safeguarding organizational data, driving innovative solutions, and mentoring others to reach their full potential. I would like to introduce my friend, my guy, Kamel Powers. How you doing,
Appreciate
man?
Thank you. I appreciate that, Deontay. It's a pleasure to be on this Tech Talk. First of many and many to come in terms of being able to share my experience and background in cyber, and hopefully some of the information that I share, hopefully it resonates with some of you that may be wanting to get into tech, already in tech, or have an interest in transitioning into cyber. So appreciate you having me on today. I guess just a quick background of who I am. So I've been working in technology, information technology for 12 years now. More so now specializing in cybersecurity architect and management. So currently I work for an independent nonprofit that specializes in philanthropy. So the company is called National Philanthropic Trust. So I've been working with this company for about 8 years, definitely longer than I expected, but it definitely working here has shaped my career growth and where I'm at today. But I've acquired a lot of different skills and leadership skills throughout my tenure here. So again, the company I work for and what I currently oversee today is, as Deontay alluded to, is more so, my technical expertise is centered around, Microsoft and the Azure security stack technology. So I'm not sure if you all are privy to that, or more so just knowledgeable on the AWS, which is similar and has similar technologies, but my organization and what we, I guess, enforce within our infrastructure is the Microsoft technology and security stack there. But I also am responsible for the designing and development of different security policies, configurations, and aligning that with different NIST frameworks as well as regulatory compliance. So from that leading to risk management, incident response, security compliance, all ensuring that we are our security program and security posture is as tight as possible, eliminate any threats or potential risks to the organization or the data that we manage for our our organization and for our clients we work with. So and also I'm from Philadelphia. I've been I recently relocated to Houston just since the pandemic and being able to work remote, and that privilege there. So currently reside in Houston from Philadelphia. And yeah, it's a little background story about who I am.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Very good background. A lot of good technologies, very good foundation. And speaking about foundation, what really inspired you to pursue a career in cybersecurity? How did you get your start in the industry?
Yeah, most certainly. I think for me, again, I've worked in tech for 12 years. Starting out in tech, like for me, I've always been trying to figure out like my purpose and, where I could, excel and allow, have an impact on the organization or, the friends around me. So I've always been trying to figure out my niche and what I'm good at, while also, finding a purpose bigger than who I am, and allowing my talents and knowledge to kind of lead me to that. So in my role here at National Philanthropic Trust, and I'll call it NPT, that's short for National Philanthropic Trust. In my role at NPT, um, I started out in an IT support associate role, really dealing with help desk support. And again, we're a small company, so I had the luxury of working behind our VP of cyber, and our director of cyber, in a support role. So I've always was involved in a larger conversations and security projects that I was able to learn from them and learn what it takes to be able to transition into that role. And then also, I kind of just did my own research of what it would take for me to kind of, transition into the industry because it's not as easy as most people would say, going from a support role straight into cybersecurity. But I did have the luxury to kind of grow with the company, learn, do research, and I found that cybersecurity professionals are in high demand at that time. So I've been, that was back in 2016, 2017. But I started doing research on, again, trying to figure out my purpose, and understanding like, where I could position myself in cybersecurity while leveraging the experts that are around me that can groom me and mentor me, and what I needed to be able to, elevate my career and, put me in a position where, my knowledge and skill set is impacting the business. And, I was able to kind of, again, like grow with the company, grow from, a support associate role to a senior support role, to a
Mm.
cybersecurity specialist, to an architect, and to now into a cybersecurity management role. So, not all people have that luxury and really being able to grow with a company that prioritizes your career development. But luckily, I was able to do that, and also during the midst of me figuring out, I did get my master's in cybersecurity. So I currently don't have any, certifications. I know, my opinion that I think that's in high demand or, prerequisites for a lot of companies. But, that foundational knowledge that I was able to acquire in my master's degree allowed me to, leverage that knowledge and the current technical skills that I had and, transition into the industry.
Okay, cool. So you talked about, your progression in cybersecurity and, coming from, tech support and, you were an engineer, network engineer. You've done a lot of the groundwork, right? And the foundational work. Okay. We see all the success that we have now, but now I want to talk about what were some of the biggest challenges you face when, going through those stages.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. For me, I think the biggest challenge was, like I said, kind of um, understanding how to connect my technical skills and aligning that with the broader principles of cybersecurity. Like, for example, getting comfortable with system administration and networking principles. Understanding different protocols, understanding different technologies, and understanding, as I transition into cyber, understanding how those skills translated into, being able to conduct threat detections or being able to understand how to create incident response plans or workflows, and more so securing systems against vulnerability. So typically you don't get that experience coming from a support role going into cyber or coming from a support role going to, operations or network infrastructure type of roles. So I had to really bridge the gap between really leveraging my skill set and then the knowledge that I acquired in my master's degree to understand, again, how those all kind of, I guess, paint the picture for the foundational knowledge, and then putting all that into practical applications and putting that into um, and putting it into perspective in terms of how to, transition and really be great in the cybersecurity field.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Now we talk about, understanding how you can take your technical knowledge, um, and leverage it. And, we often talk about, hey, having the six-figure career or, working remote or anything, what is the most rewarding aspect of your career so far?
Yeah, I would say for sure. I think the continuous learning opportunity it provides,
Mm,
cybersecurity is so broad. I think for sure, understanding and I
mm,
had the luxury again to really be, um, have the experience in touching all different areas of cybersecurity, subdomains and disciplines. So
okay.
whether that's vulnerability management, incident response, endpoint security, um, anything you name it, I had the opportunity, and for me, I've always been willing to learn, whether that's my organization providing learning opportunities for me, or just educating myself on how to really exceed. And I thrive on in order for me to be able to progress within the tech space or being able to elevate my within my career is continuous learning. And then I think alongside of that, the stability that working in cybersecurity and the financial independence there. So I think you can't forget about that, especially with cybersecurity being in high demand. But I think those two elements kind of really help my career growth, and then being able to build relationships with like-minded individuals that work in tech, work in cyber, and sharing that with my friends and family, because I think cybersecurity is not just a tech industry; is very broad and widely spread across all disciplines within the organization. That I just want to be able to kind of share that and what I'm learning, and being on the call today and sharing some unique insights onto what I've experienced. But again, I
Mm,
think definitely continuous learning. The financial independence and stability that it provides. Cybersecurity being so broad that I can always learn something new,
mhm,
and then building those intentional relationships in order to further my career.
for sure. And you talk about, the field is so broad. There's so much stuff to do each and every day. Sometimes you just really don't know what's going to come at you, and you have to use the practical knowledge. So that really goes into your day-to-day responsibilities. Okay.
Yeah,
What does a typical day look like for Kamel?
yeah, that's a unique question for me. Like my days are not the same. So for us in my organization, we work off an agile 2 week sprint cycle. So I think it's best I give you that on how we break down how my days will look within a sprint cycle on a 2 week cadence. So essentially, we myself as the manager of my security team and managing our SOC is just sprint planning more so. Defining like sprint goals and identifying like what those specific priorities will be, whether it's addressing organizational risks or whether it's addressing conducting risk assessments for new applications or new workflows that are introduced within the business, or improving our SOC workflows. So it's more so doing some sprint planning, project planning, and how we're going to execute within a sprint. So collaborating with my team on defining the initiatives for whatever task that they're going to be doing within a sprint, and then aligning with some of those key stakeholders to confirm like the timelines and what we're expecting within the sprint, but then coincide with the project planning for that team, and then other items that come out. I'm in a lot of meetings throughout the days, whether it's again with key stakeholders across the business or with my team. I'm also monitoring escalations and SOC activities. So most of the time we're dealing with incident response. We work with like an MDR, a managed detection response vendor, that kind of assists us with analyzing email threats that come within our organization. So kind of responding to those type of activities, conducting tabletop exercises with different teams throughout the sprint. So that varies once a sprint or throughout each quarter. And then also just kind of continuing those engagements, and then at the conclusion of a sprint is conducting retrospectives, more so to identify what went well in the sprint, what can we improve on, did we come across any blockers or challenges that impacting us on completing a test, and then most important, like some of the lessons learned within the sprint in order to improve for the next sprint cycle. So that's just kind of a gist of a 2-week cycle of what I do, and what I kind of oversee and manage throughout a sprint.
Very good, very good. So we talk about, hey, we're doing some sprints, we're doing some risk management here and there. We're getting with the SOC team. We're looking at the outlook of, hey, how do we protect our environment? Hey, what are some, controls that we can put in place? Can you quickly tell us what tools you're using for a lot of these activities?
Yeah. So, like I said, I more so, our organization more so leverages, Microsoft and Azure security stack. So within that, a lot of the tools that we use for, MDR or SIM is, Azure Sentinel, which is the SIM tool, Security Information Event Manager tool. Defender for Office 365 that essentially manages our email threat protections. We also leverage, Azure cloud resources, so building out virtual machines, Microsoft Intune to manage, application and device policies. But furthermore, other tools that we use is like you mentioned, Qualys for vulnerability management and detection, CyberArk for our password manager solution, as well as leveraging and managing privilege access or accounts that are elevated accounts, as well as we utilize Salesforce for CRM, for like change management processing, risk management tracking, a variety of different SaaS tools. A lot of our applications we do use are SaaS based, but we definitely have a variety of tools across my cybersecurity team, our development team, our Salesforce team, our design team, that essentially are all critical tools that produce different outcomes for whatever the business use case is.
Okay, good. That sounds really good. Those are really solid tools, really solid systems and components, man. Um, Now we're gonna go into more insights and advice. Okay, so if someone, uh, you know, didn't know about cybersecurity, they want to get into cybersecurity, and they didn't even know what a firewall was or a web server, and they're like, hey, I know nothing about cybersecurity at all. Where would you say they need to start?
That's a great question. I think I get that a lot. I think the best place is, and I think I'm gonna give you 4 different things. One is identifying your current skill sets. I think a lot of people forget that a lot of these skills that you currently have, whether you're working in finance or whether you're working in sales or whatever the case may be, a lot of skills, soft skills, technical skills, analytical skills are transferable into cyber. So I think it's the best way to really identify your skill sets, and then to figure out how you can align those skills with a potential um, discipline or yeah, domain in security that will be applicable. And I guess that goes into my second point. Understanding all the sub disciplines and domains in cybersecurity. As I mentioned, you can go from vulnerability management, endpoint detection, business continuity, data protection, DLP for endpoint. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about one of the tools you use, but data loss prevention.
Yeah.
Um, Also development, DevSecOps, working with software developers and implementing automated tools to configure secure code practices and identifying vulnerabilities. But I think it's important to really understanding what all those domains are and what interests you the most, especially if you're going through, a certification or you're learning about cybersecurity. Like I said, is very broad. Find out what aligns with what you like and what interests you, and I would say, definitely hone in on that and continue to learn that discipline. And then the third one is, I would say, studying different job descriptions for that specific role that you may be interested in, or you maybe have seen over throughout the course of your job search. But reading those prerequisites, the job description, what it entails, what type of technologies you should be understanding, what type of frameworks you should understand, regulatory compliance. I think all of that is important. Most companies must adhere to, PII, regulatory compliance, or HIPAA or GDPR, making sure that you understand what those are. But then different types of frameworks, NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technologies, ISO, making sure that, when you read those job descriptions, you may see that it might discourage you, but if you understand the language and how it applies to a specific role that you're in, or the overall cybersecurity principles, I think it comes a long way with you being able to speak to it versus being discouraged and not applying for that type of job. I think most jobs are looking for you to understand it, and if you have the work ethic and the willingness to learn whatever technologies and tools are necessary, I think that will help you. And then lastly, I think just starting where you're at. If you're in a different industry or not in tech or cybersecurity, utilizing volunteering opportunities. Like, not every job you have to get is paid. I understand we do have bills and things that we need to keep us sustainable. But at the same time, like, especially as you're growing, you're going to have to work hard and be disciplined and be dedicated, for how many months you need in order to get to where you're going. But taking on volunteering opportunities, meeting and networking with cybersecurity experts, but then also taking on entry level jobs. But I think most importantly, like, it's definitely critical to acquire some type of entry level certification, or just getting some type of help desk or tech type of experience in order to get your foot in the door. Like I said, I worked in help desk, customer service, and I was able to really grow in being able to align those skill sets with the knowledge needed to be able to circulate into cyber.
Hmm. Absolutely. And that is really great, great, great advice. Volunteering is very underrated. A lot of people have not been utilizing that, but that actually looks good when you're going for a job, because they're like, hey, this is a holistic person. They aid to their community. Most of, sometimes you have those interviews where they'll ask you technical questions, but a lot of the times they're trying to see if you're a right fit for the team, like socially, if you fit in the culture, et cetera, right? And now, that are people are getting into cybersecurity, sometimes it's really all about, you have your certification, you may have done like a volunteership, an apprenticeship, right? Tech Up Labs, we give you an apprenticeship, but once you get through that first interview, all the interviews, you pretty much can knock them out the park. So that is really good advice, Mel. And you give us those points about really actually getting into cybersecurity. But if you were to talk to your younger self, right, what would you tell your younger self when you were just getting started in the field?
Yeah, I would say, I would say just being persistent, being resilient. I think, at times where it's uncertain where you are heading in your career, or what steps to take or who to talk to, is just kind of being able to manage that, and level setting with yourself. Like I said before, is really trying to identify your skill set. Where early on in my career, I really didn't know what direction I wanted to go. I know I needed to get a good job. I wanted a good paying job. But I was losing focus of what my purpose was. So I wish early on I really understood the importance of networking with people, understand the importance of mentorship, even leveraging a career coach that can help, bridge the gap between, where you're trying to get and giving you that foundational knowledge and principles to get you where you need to go. And just being resourceful. For me, I've always depended on myself within my career or just in my personal life, where I think it hindered me from being able to, get in cyber early on in my career versus where I'm at now. And I learned a lot and developed a lot professionally and personally, where a lot of personal blockers, impact me from getting where I am now. But I would definitely just say, being persistent, being resilient, and utilizing the time. I think as we try to speed up the process of wherever we're at and where we want to go, and that's not how life works. It takes small steps. I think for me myself today is identifying the small wins that have got me to where I'm at. But at the same time, like as you go through your career journey, understanding that there's going to be small milestones that you've taken to get where you're going, but at the same time, like really, locking in and taking the time to again figure out what you want to do. Especially if you're already in tech, like you got your foot in the door. But utilizing those resources, being resilient and persistent about what you want to achieve, and just continuously learning. I think that's the important thing. As we know in tech, cybersecurity, cybersecurity is endlessly growing, and there's a lot of different technologies and new threats and new things that you could be learning from, you know, government agencies or people like Deontay in this field that you should always be willing to learn, because that will take you a long way within whatever role you're in. So I wish I could speak to myself as I'm speaking to now, but definitely things I would like to share with you, whoever's trying to, trickle into cyber, to keep those things top of mind.
For sure. That was really good. Um, for a question for the people who, came in, what teams do you work with more closely? And when you're working with those teams, how do you assess cybersecurity risks? Uh, can you give us some insight on that?
Yeah, most certainly. So for me, I collaborate with so my organization within my team, there's our cybersecurity team that encompasses our IT support infrastructure, which is more network engineers, and then our cybersecurity team. So I'm always collaborating with them, as a lot of the tasks and things that policies we build, anything we engineer, also trickulates down into processes and procedures and roles and responsibilities on who's required to kind of manage or oversee something. So definitely that team, our software development team. So we're always building new business use cases. For example, we're now building out APIs to be able to pull in data across multiple systems that we utilize throughout our organization. So working with the development team in introducing secure practices for automating, our software development life cycle, where we're automating within the life cycle, vulnerability scans to detect, vulnerabilities within code, within our APIs, within different source code repositories, but also streamlining and building out workflows that are efficient throughout the different stages, from designing and developing an API to testing it to migrating it to production. So throughout those processes, we're always collaborating and meeting with those teams, identifying, and conducting risk assessments of those new um, uh, business projects, and then also aligning with introducing technologies and tools and workflows that are streamline and potentially address any potential risk that comes throughout that new process. And of course, business teams. We're always, in terms of the organization, I also conduct security awareness training. So we're always sharing out tips and resources of how to be aware of phishing attacks, educating staff on new threats such as deep fakes and things of that sort, educating the staff on proper use of AI. So we do utilize AI within our organization. It's still being reviewed and evaluated for potential risks, and we do align with the NIST risk management framework, which I believe is 601 that was introduced in
Yeah.
2023. But we do educate our staff in conducting security awareness trainings and simulation trainings to kind of piggyback off what we taught, but also to evaluate that the staff is learning and able to identify potential threats that every day we experience in terms of business email compromise, um, you know financial fraud and things of that sort. So we want to educate the staff to be able to protect the organization and the assets that we manage.
Okay, good. Good, good, good. We only have a few minutes left. Um, I want to open it up to the audience. Any questions for Kamel?
Yes. So Kamel, one of the questions that I had, because I don't come from a traditional tech background, what do you think will probably be one of the biggest challenges will be for someone coming from like a sales background, really trying to understand and learn the basis and foundations of like cybersecurity?
I think, and you work in sales tech, or you do work or something different in your field.
Yeah, I work in a tech company. We focus on document management and client collaboration portals.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, I think, like I said before, I think even with the CompTIA Security Plus, like building that foundational knowledge, that will allow you to kind of streamline and align with what you already know. I think as a sales working in sales tech, like you already understand the different technologies that most customers and clients are needing to kind of, secure their infrastructure. So understanding technologies already, different technologies and tools that most organizations are looking for kind of gives you a leg up, and um, being able to utilize that once you kind of start understanding the foundational knowledge. I think definitely, like I said before, like I said, like the CompTIA Security Plus, like that'll give you the knowledge, like understanding the CIA triad, and confidential, integrity, availability, and understanding how cybersecurity operates like at a strategic level. So that those certifications, those entry level certifications, will give you that knowledge. But I think like I said before, utilizing those transferable skills that applies to every job. And when I speak to people within my organization, even like people in finance, like they don't think cybersecurity is most important, but most their technologies and processes and tools are always at risk of being targeted to a cyber attack. So I think really, like I said, just understanding what knowledge and skills you already have, critical thinking, those soft communication skills, because I think those come a long way. Like you have communication skills that can triculate into conducting security awareness training. Like you don't necessarily need to be an engineer or architect or developer to really be hands on. There's people like designing policies. I know Deontay worked in GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. Like you don't really necessarily have to be technical to work in cybersecurity, but I think understanding that foundational knowledge will take you a long way to a entry level position, and then definitely just getting that hands on experience and leveraging. There's free resources out there. LinkedIn Learning. I think some of them you might have to pay for, but there's free resources. I follow a lot of YouTubers that work in Microsoft space. That's always teaching me new advancements within technology. And like with Microsoft, you can set up a free account with Microsoft Azure, and be able to identify, how to set up a user account, how to identify, access management, set up MFA, multi-factor authentication, how to set up conditional access policies, how to set up a virtual machine. You can do that all from at your home without having to, have that real world experience that most jobs are looking for. But if you, kind of do your own learning and in lab work at home, and then be able to put that on your resume or put that on your LinkedIn page, I think that will come a long way with someone not being able to have the experience, but learning what's necessary, and then leveraging different tools that are out there that are free for you. You might have to add, pay a little bit just to, get additional features. But hopefully I answered that question. But I think there's a lot of different things that can help someone transition that may not be in tech. But definitely, like I said, utilizing your current skills and transferable skills.
Yeah, no, it answered the question perfectly. And I did have a follow-up question, but I do want to let everybody else get their questions out as well. I don't want to take up the whole floor.
No problem.
Yeah, but I'll let anybody else go who wants a question before I ask my follow-up. No?
Okay.
Nobody?
Georgia says there's a lot of noise where he's at. So he says, which subsection in cybersecurity that you believe will be sought after in 2 to 5 years, and how can we prepare in order to take advantage of it early?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say, as we all know, for sure, is definitely AI. AI, artificial intelligence, Gen AI. I think a lot of organizations that don't understand AI or have built their own, AI models to be able to analyze data and improve efficiencies. Because I think a lot of today, even with my company, a lot of the tasks that we're doing are manual. So if you can come in and understand, how to conduct threat detections or response times by building, an AI model that can, improve, a SOC analyst day-to-day tasks, I think that comes a long way and definitely more sought after than, not to say engineers are not going to be sought after, or, development security operation engineers are not, but at the same time, AI is the way to go, and the most people don't have that knowledge and skill set today, to be able to kind of build out, AI powered tools that, again, there's still some uncertainties there, questions that are still out there, and government agencies that are still looking to understand. But definitely, even within this cohort, this program, like really leveraging AI, the knowledge that you're going to be learning here, and running with that within any role that you're looking to apply for. So I would say definitely AI is the way to go.
Awesome. Since no one else is going, I'd just like to answer this follow-up question, because I understand that in the IT cybersecurity world, tier 1 is like help desk, and I think tier 2 is like system administrator. Is there any way, because I know we got to take steps, I understand that, but is there a way where usually you see some folks where they get into this field and they start right as a system administrator, or is it typically better to start in the help desk position?
I guess it depends on your skill set and the knowledge you currently have. For me, I started out in help desk, understanding different operating systems and learning about, firewalls, understanding, different protocols and ports. I think, like I said, the foundational knowledge within cybersecurity will help you understand what's required, and how to thoroughly, like with the tier 2 role, be able to conduct those, additional analytical skills that are required to investigate. I think the biggest thing is, being able to problem solve, where you may not learn that jumping straight to, a junior role or systems analyst role straight out the gate, with really not understanding, the infrastructure behind a lot of things that are, what you might be supporting. So, not to say this, it's not possible, but my career trajectory definitely started within customer service, picking up phone calls, going into help desk, being hands on, then being able to apply, different networking opportunities and engineering roles that I was in, and then allowing that to kind of lead into leadership positions. So again, if you have the skill set and already that you may be able to apply that, and if you have that on your resume and able to speak to it confidently, I think you could definitely jump ahead and acquire those type of roles for sure.
Perfect. Thank you, Kamel. So, yes, Cedric, yes, I'll get with you with the cohort costs. I'll send you an email about that. But yes, Kamel, very good information for today. Very valuable for people who are wanting to get into cybersecurity. And it is important that, we heed all of the recommendations that you have because you're someone who's been in the field for a good 12 years, a strong 12 years, right? And, always getting into a new field may be, intimidating, right? It may be daunting, but we have someone like you that has been putting in really good, consistent work for a while, right? So, Check Up Labs, we want to thank you so much for being on this call, giving this information uh, to our audience because, you make it easier for them, but also, it's each one teach one, right? We have to pay it forward, okay? And that's what you're doing. So we really thank you for being on this call, man.
Well, certainly, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Hopefully, I was able to kind of share some good insights, advice. Again, I think someone put in the chat. I think Deontay, you did. If you want to follow me on LinkedIn, feel free. Happy to kind of expand on some of the things that I mentioned here, or give some advice outside of this for anyone that's looking to apply for different roles or transition into tech or cyber. But definitely glad to be here and appreciate the time. Thank you.
Absolutely. And do you have anything going on? Anything outside of cyber? Any events coming up? What's going on?
So I mean, so on my free time, I'm a DJ. So I enjoy just speaking to the people and playing music that I love and what everyone else loves. So if you're in the Houston area, there will be an event, Ugly Sweater Party. One of our friends that also is from Philadelphia that moved to Houston. She's hosting an event on December 19th. So if anyone wants to join, it's for people that are transplants that want to network and meet people. I will be DJing there, but ultimately, just continue to grow and continue to learn. Exploring some different certifications that I can add to my resume. But for the most part, just growing as an individual and and exploring in different hobbies that I enjoy.
For sure. All right. Well, I put your LinkedIn in there. And yes, feel free to follow Kamel and follow Tech Up Labs. And we'll send out a recording of this as well in a newsletter email. So if you're not subscribed to the newsletter, go ahead, subscribe yourselves. We have the link in the chat and we should be all good to go. All right. Any last comments, Kamel? You all good? Anything else?
I'm all good. I appreciate it. Yeah, nothing else from me. I'm not sure if anyone else has any questions.
Yep. We should be all good. All right, everyone. Have a good rest of the evening. Kamel, thank you so much. Have a good evening, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Awesome. Have a good night.
Good night.